Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lori the Frugal Mom, and what you're looking at is the base for some vegetable beef soup that I'm making tonight. This is my 6-quart Dutch oven, and I have a large yellow onion that I chopped coarsely, and 4 carrots that I halved and chopped, and 4 skinny celery stalks that I washed and chopped as well, and about 1/4 cup of olive oil. And the reason why I have so much in there, I wanted to make sure that it covered the surface of our Dutch oven, and I wanted to make sure it penetrates all the vegetables. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cook this until it gets soft and a tiny bit golden, probably about 10 minutes, and I'm going to keep it moving as much as possible. This is called the mirepoix, which is French, and it means, from what I know, it means the 3, and this is the basis for so many delicious meals, soups, stews, all different kinds of things. So I'm going to let this do its thing, and I'm going to start working on our other vegetables. Okay, so this is the roux that I'm making. I doubled it, so it's basically to 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. You're going to add 3.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and you're going to whisk. Now I want mine to be darker because I'm using beef broth. So that's why mine's a little bit darker. I'm going to let mine go a couple more minutes, and that's little pieces of onions in it. That's perfectly fine if you couldn't get them all out when you took your vegetables out. So I'm just going to let mine go a few minutes, like I said, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I have lowered my heat to low. That's about the color that I want. You want to cook it for a couple of minutes so that it gets rid of that floury raw taste. And now I'm just going to very slowly add in the room temperature broth. I'm using beef broth. I don't have any pre-made, so I bought some cartons. I have, let's see, 48 ounces. I'm going to see how much that gives me. I might add the other 48 ounces, and we'll go from there. If you don't have beef broth in a can or a carton, you could always use bouillon and just make that amount up with your bouillon. Now when you first add your broth, and this is not all of it out of that 48-ounce container, it's going to look a little clumpy, and that's normal. You're just going to keep it moving and all those clumps will disappear. Okay, so I figured I would take a quick video of me adding the broth. I've got my hair back so I don't have hairy soup. If you can hear the trickle, and I'm moving it with my non-stick whisk. And I'm making sure to scrape the sides. I want to make sure that I have a good amount of broth in here because I'm going to have a good amount of vegetables. Now you can customize this. That's the beauty of it. So you always want to start with your mirepoix, your carrots, onion, and celery. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of garlic in there. Y'all know I love my garlic. And then I am going to put a chopped head of cauliflower, a quartered zucchini that I rinsed really well to make sure there's no sand. I'm trying to think what else I might put in there. Some tomatoes. I'm going to saute down some mushrooms to put them in there. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm going to add another container of beef broth. This is the 48 ounces. This happened to be on sale at my local ShopRite this week. They were 3 for $6, which is a really good deal. So most of the time I like to use homemade bone broth, but sometimes you just don't have it, so you use what you have. And at this point I can add it a little bit faster, but I'm going to keep it moving. I'm not going to salt this right now because the broth does have salt in it. I'm just going to let it cook down for a little while. Might also put some diced tomatoes in there just to give it a little bit more flavor. We'll see. We will see. And if I need more water, I can always add a couple cups of water. I might put some broccoli in there as well. You know what I say, guys. The sky's the limit when it comes to cooking. Don't be afraid to experiment. And then I'm going to add about 2 cups of pot roast, leftover pot roast to this. I'm going to freeze the rest of that pot roast so nothing goes to waste. And then we'll do something else with it later down the line. Alright. So that is our 48 ounces, which is 8 cups. And I'm definitely going to be putting a couple of cups of water into this. But I'm going to show you what this looks like right now. So that's about as much liquid as we have in here right now. I am going to add, I think, 3 cups, and we'll go from there. And then I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Then I'm going to add my vegetables. Okay, so I have added my vegetables back in, the mirepoix, the zucchini, my broccoli, my garlic, and the cauliflower. I added a teaspoon of salt because I don't want to overdo it, about 12 cracks of fresh pepper, or half a teaspoon of pepper, I guess it would be for you, and a teaspoon of thyme, just because I like the flavor it imparts in the broth. I also added 2 15-ounce cans of diced tomatoes because I like tomatoes in my soup. I drained one of them and I put the liquid with the other right into the soup. And then I put 2 bay leaves in there. You know, the bay leaves just kind of help to meld all the flavors. I'm going to let this come to a boil. I'm going to keep an eye on it. And about a half hour after it's been simmering, I'm going to add a handful of chopped potatoes in there just to give it a little bit more oomph. And then I'll put the beef in there as well. Okay guys, so our soup is souping, and now I am going to cook up our mushrooms. I want to do that because I want to intensify the mushroom beefy flavor. So to that, I have in my nonstick pan, this is about a 10-inch pan, I have 2 tablespoons of salted butter melted, and this is 8 ounces of white mushrooms that I washed very well and sliced. So I'm just going to keep them moving in the pan until they get soft, let them simmer for a little bit, and then I'll add them to the soup. Here are our mushrooms after they are sauteed in that salted butter for about 10-15 minutes. I kept them moving, I kept them over like a low heat, and I'm going to add them to our soup, which let me go over to the next burner. There's our beautiful soup. I added the beef, about 2.5-3 cups of beef. Anything that you've got left over. I had a pot roast left over that I used iRound for, so that's what I'm using. I have another little bit of it that I'm going to freeze so we can save it for another time to add to something. I'm going to add these to our soup. I'm going to add a splash of Worcestershire because it gives it like a meatier flavor, because I don't want to add wine because that would make it richer as well. And I'm going to adjust my seasonings. I'm going to let it cook for another 15-20 minutes. Okay, you guys, so here's our soup. It has been simmering for about half hour, 40 minutes. It smells amazing. I just tasted it. It is so good. I'm going to remove the bay leaves and I'm going to serve myself up a bowl. I won't have a taste test for you guys because, as you know, my sister doesn't like to be on camera, and Matt has fallen asleep. He's been pretty tired lately. So let's go close so I can show you. You can see the little beef particles. I will show you what it looks like in the bowl. It really is delicious. To me, it's a 10 out of 10. I'm going to serve it with some good bread and butter and enjoy. So let me get it served up and I'll show it to you. So here is our soup, all bowled up with some tasty rye bread and butter to sop up all that deliciousness for dipping. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this recipe. Please share, like, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Let me know what kind of soups you guys like. So, as always, we are sending love from New Jersey. Have a great night, guys. Bye.